A very good day, sir. Our project topic is using the internet for learning purposes encourages homeschooling and virtual learning. And our group leader is Aswaf Analaki Manoharan, and my name is Felicia Teo Ewan. Okay, let's start for the introduction. The problem statement is internet has greatly affected our social lives, particularly in terms of educational advancement. However, the developing countries are lack of internet usage for their learning in the education. So they need to improve the ICT in order to be effective in improving learning because an internet-based learning network is required to boost students' learning in the way of development. So therefore, we aim to explore and identify in this research on how internet usage might benefit students learning in order to ensure that internet usage is linked to the learning environment. So this study suggests to the students' behavior on internet usage, which is beneficial for improving the ICT in the learning process. So this project research is carried out for the following objective, which are to observe the benefits of internet usage on academic purposes and to find out the relationship between internet usage and learning improvement, and also to conclude how helpful internet has been for learning processes based on the data collected. For the scope of this project, this research were done by quantitative methodology, and qualitative methodology focuses more on the ability to complete the statistical analysis. So in this project, each respondent is asked to respond to some questions where a questionnaire technique is used. So we had conducted with 30 samples as our respondents. So after that, the data were collected in order to further our research studies through the statistical analysis. So there are three topics to review in this literature review. First is the use of internet for learning purpose. So we know that when the educational component of internet use is addressed, students or anybody looking for the knowledge in general may do it quickly and at a cheap cost. It's undeniable that the internet is a vast repository of knowledge from which anything can be accessed fast and simply. And also, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there are more educational institutions are implementing virtual classrooms, and this trend is expected to continue. So we know that the internet is very important for this educational purpose. And also for the homeschooling, from the MOJET, which is Malaysian Online Journal of Educational Technology, it listed that there are seven elements of the homeschooling, which are social websites such as Facebook, Twitter, and so on, and also accessing information by internet, which is web quest, and also mobile learning and interactive video games, web portal, and digital story. So we know that these all elements is need of internet. So the internet is an important factor to make homeschooling become successful, and also for the virtual while countries COVID-19 infections rates vary, more than 1.2 billion children in 186 countries are now affected by school cancellations as a result of the pandemic. So with the rapid change away from the classrooms in many areas of the world, there are many countries adopting the virtual learning. So there is evidence that the studying online can be more successful in a variety of ways for individuals who have access to the proper technology. Okay, so for the methodology part, first we collect the data by using the survey question A, R, and there are three sections. Which first section is the respondents' demography, and second section is the use of internet for studies, and third section is they will rate the level of usefulness of internet for academic purpose. And next we will do the statistical analysis there are two parts in this part, which is descriptive analysis and hypothesis method. Next, we will present our result. So for the first section is the respondents demography. So we can see that there are a total of 30 respondents. So there are 18 male participants, which is 60% of the respondents, and 12 female participants, which 40% of the respondents. Next is the age. You can see that there are the 18 to 20 age level occupy the highest percentage of this um, for this for this section. So there are 60% of the respondent is 18 to 20 years old, and the least is the 21 to 23 years old. So we can see that there are the most respondents are from the CAS, which is College of Art and Science, occupied at 40%, and the least is the Cogis, which only occupy 27%. And also we can say that the way to access internet, the most respondents use Wi-Fi to access the internet, and no one use the broadband to access the internet. And um, we can see that the students use the internet for academic purpose every day, uh, occupy the most, and there are no one who use internet once a week.
Good day, sir. Me, myself, Aswat Analaki Manoharan, machine number 263074. I'll be explaining to you section B onwards. So, for section B, reasons of using internet for learning purposes. This will be the section where we will be explaining to you regarding the hypothesis testing. So, next. These are the reasons we chose from past research and we attached them into our questionnaire. So basically this will be the result of the questionnaire. Next, hypothesis testing. Next, to access online lectures will be one of the reasons for using internet for learning purposes. So based on previous research, we got that 60% agree with this reason, and based on our research, we got 86.67% agree with this reason. So from here, we try to conclude that the percentage we got is greater than the previous result. So we will be using the upper one tailed. So based on the calculation we have done, the Z value is 3, which is greater than the critical value, and this is where we have to reject the null hypothesis and accept the alternative hypothesis, which is greater than 60. So next, to help me to get better result in my studies, subjects, and in the previous research we got 70% agree with this reason, and our research got 76.67% agree with this reason. So this is where we try to conclude that the percentage is greater than 70%. So we use the lower one tailed. So based on the calculation we have done, the Z test value is 0.88, where it is greater than the critical value, and this is where we fail to reject the null hypothesis, which is greater than 70%. Next, to conduct research studies. So based on previous research we got 30%, and our research got 33.33%. So this is where we try to conclude that both the research result are not different. So we'll be using the two-tailed, where after the calculation we have done, the Z test value would be 0.38, where it is in between the critical value of 1.96 and negative 1.96. So this is where we fail to reject the null hypothesis of 30%. And then next would be to improve my IT skills in general. So based on previous research we got 10%, and our research got 16.67%. So from here we try to conclude that there is no difference between both the results, and then we can know that it is a two-tailed. So based on the calculation we have done, the z-test value is 1.4, which is in between the critical value of 1.96 and negative 1.96. So this is where we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis, which is equivalent to 10%. Then next, to understand the subject material more deeply. So based on previous research, we got 50% and our research got 40%. So from here, we try to conclude that the percentage is less than the previous result. So we will be using the lower one tailed. So based on the result, based on the calculation we have done, the Z test value is negative 1.11, where it is greater than the critical value. So from here we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis of 50%. Next will be to assess online video recordings of lectures. So based on previous research, we got 50%, 54% agree with this reason, and then we got 66.67% agree with this reason. So from here, we get to know that we conclude the percentage is greater than the previous result. So we'll be using the upper one tailed, where the calculation, after the calculation done, the Z test value is 1.44, where it is lower than the critical value, and this is where we get to know we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis, which is less than 54%. Then next, to assess on university based service websites. So previous research got 78% and our research got 80%. So from here we try to conclude that there is no difference between both the results. So we use the two-tailed, and after the calculation done, the Z test value would be 0.25, where it lies between both the critical values of 1.96 and negative 1.96. So this is where we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis of 78%. And then next, to communicate online with lecturers, previous research got 95% and our research got 93.3%. So from here we try to conclude that there are no difference between both the results. So we use two-tailed, and then the calculation done for the Z test, where the result is negative 0.5, where it lies in between the critical value of 1.96 and negative 1.96. So this is where we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis of 95%. And then next, to communicate online with group mates. So previous research got 90% and our research got 83.3%, and this is where we try to conclude that there are no difference between both the values. So we used two-tailed, and then after the calculation done for Z test, the value is negative 0.14. The value is negative 1.4, where it lies in between the critical value of 1.96 and negative 1.96. So this is where we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis of 90%. And then next, last one is to share digital files related to my course. So previous research got 65% and our research got 53.33%. So from here we try to conclude that the percentage is less than the previous result. So we use lower one tailed. So based on the calculation done, we got that the Z test value is negative 1.33, where it is greater than the critical value. So we get to know that we failed to reject the null hypothesis, which is greater than 65%.
That's all for section B. Now we'll proceed with section C, overall usefulness of internet for learning purposes. This will be the data we have collected through the questionnaire that has been distributed. So 4 of them chose neutral, 16 of them chose useful, and 10 of them chose very useful. So from this we get to know that overall usefulness of internet for learning purposes has impacted positively. Conclusion: students use the internet to search a large amount of material in a more effective manner. Internet helps them to interact with each other easily, effectively, and efficiently. It also helps to share their experiences and knowledge, work collaboratively on projects, form working groups, and so many more. Thus, internet seriously has been positive impact on students' learning. So that's all from us. Thank you.